Hang on. So I entertain a motion to go back into public session. Motion to go back. All those in favor? Terry and Nancy. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? All right, we're back into open session. We will recess for 3 minutes. Hey, everybody. If I could have your attention real quick, welcome. So we're going to have a full house tonight. So you can sit all the way to the far side. It's going to be cooler in the back, obviously. If you plan on speaking, we have the comment cards. You need to fill out the comment card, hand it to Claire up here, and then she will call you up when we do public comment. We do have a work session in 3 minutes that we're going to do. Are you ready to talk energy? I know. What's that? Because Channel 5 said our meeting was at 6. Yep. Hey, good evening, everybody. So I know you're all here to talk about something that we're not going to be talking about till 7 o'clock. So I'm going to invite you to get comfortable, enjoy. We have a work session from 6:30 until 7, and we are talking about energy efficiency of buildings. So I know you're all just as passionate about that. Or maybe you will be after this. Do you have a presentation to lead with? All right. So Ashley, if you have that ready to fire up.
Ta-da. Can you hear me?
There you go.
All right. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you, Council, for joining me tonight to discuss the facility assessment and the operational plan that we want to move forward with. So we'll just kind of jump right in and get started. Hopefully. There we go. Whoa. That's not what we wanted.
There you
Here we go. Thank you, Ashley. So Our challenge that we have within our facilities is that we had a couple big booms of construction. So in the 90s and again in the early 2000s, we built some of our most significant buildings. What that means is move forward 20 years, even into 30 years, and we are at end of life for a lot of our equipment. So some of these buildings that we did construct over the last 10 years would be our administration building and our courthouse. Those were done roughly at the same time. We had our police department done out in O'Fallon. Our executive building, we had a major renovation in the 90s. Family Arena, Justice Center, and our Juvenile Justice Center. So these are very large, very important buildings to our county operations. So now we're hitting that point where we have end-of-life components that we do need to tackle. So with that, we're faced with those replacements. We're faced with the fact that we don't have the manpower resources, we don't have the fiscal resources to do these projects individually. So therefore, the energy service company is an option for us to consider that gives us an opportunity to leverage some things. As far as next steps, so what we want to be able to do is contract with an energy service company. They will conduct an investment grade audit. They'll walk through these various buildings. We actually have 9 of them that we're going to ask them to walk through, give us an assessment. They're going to prepare a replacement plan as well as the costs associated to that, develop a financial model based on available funds, but also they're going to really dive into the rebates and available financing. The rebates would be multi-level with the utility operations as well as grants and incentives. The results out of this is we're going to produce our repairs. We're going to focus on our preventative maintenance. That's the piece that's taking most of our time currently. And we're going to lower our utility costs. That's really important because our lowering of our utility costs has a direct impact on our budget. So we want to make sure that we have that more efficient equipment in place. And overall, that will improve our operations as a whole. So what is an ESCO? So an ESCO is defined under the Missouri Revised Statute 8.231 as a guaranteed energy savings contract. An energy service company, as I mentioned, they're going to conduct an audit. They're going to provide us with a list of energy saving improvements and identify our return on investment. That's always important. They're going to assist with funding options and utility rebates, as well as managing the project and implementing it. And they'll also monitor it after the fact, that once it is implemented, they will monitor it. So what's audited? We're really focused. They say we can audit all sorts of things, but this is the list of what we're really focused in on. So we want to make sure that we're looking at our mechanical systems. Our mechanical systems do take up the largest value of our budget each year, so that's something that we really want to focus in on. Lighting fixtures, lighting controls, plumbing fixtures, building exteriors. Again, we're not looking at our roofing because we've been able to manage that thus far. And building automation. Not all of our buildings do have automation, so building management systems. And we want to track our utility usage. So they're going to go through and see what have we done in the last 10 years for our electric, gas, and our water. So why is this right for us? So this provides us with a comprehensive review of our current infrastructure, and it does identify our deficiencies. It provides us a solution and an implementation cost, which is important. That way we're able to assess what we can and can't do. We also want to make sure that we are going to create a solution to make sure we remove all of our R22 refrigerant. If you're not aware of R22 refrigerant, but it is obsolete. They stopped manufacturing it, and it has been on the process of being phased out over more than 10 years, and we no longer can get it fresh, brand new. We have to use recycled. Maximizing our savings by combining our rebates as well as multiple sources. Financing is going to allow us to implement the projects quicker. That means that we're going to realize our operational maintenance and our cost savings sooner. They're going to oversee the design and engineering, the competitive bid process, the project implementation, the verification of the operations, as well as provide training for my staff. The measurement and the verification, that's going to help reduce our operational issues. So those are the sorts of things that aren't as noticeable on a day-to-day basis, but when they go back through and they measure and they verify, is it actually operating the way that we designed it to? Is it actually realizing the utility savings that we said it would? That's something that we wouldn't ordinarily get, but they will. We're going to also be upgrading our equipment sooner. So right now, if we actually take in what staffing resources we have as well as the fiscal resources, it's going to take us more than 10 years for us to implement this project. So with this methodology, we're able to do it a lot quicker. And most importantly, we're able to anticipate the average savings of 20 to 25% of our utilities. That's real dollars. So with the bid that we did submit, we went through the whole bid process. We received 5 bids. Of those 5 bids, we did interview the 2 top firms, Navitas and Schneider Electric. We did evaluate them on several different qualifications, so their business qualifications, their financial, participant and personnel that they would assign to the effort, their project management plan, how they'd get it done, as well as their project experience. We wanted to make sure that they had county or municipality experience, because this can be utilized in a lot of different venues. And most importantly, we wanted to look at their assessment cost, but even more importantly, their markups. So when it goes to doing a project with them, what kind of markup are they going to apply to the project? After we went through that, interviewed, even asked for further clarification, Schneider Electric was the top firm that we would like to move forward with. So again, we looked at their qualifications. They had a lot of qualifications for county experience. They had a lot of positive past performance. One of the benefits out of this type of program is that for some reason the projects that they do not perform as well as they anticipate, they actually have to pay the difference. And Schneider Electric was very upfront about some of those aspects. Some of the other companies were not. You had to kind of drag it out of them to find out that information. Financially stable. They are clearly a financially stable company. They've been around for a very long time, over 100 years. Team approach. Every step of the way, they provided us with that team approach. They're a local company, so they do have an office out of O'Fallon, so we appreciated that piece of it. But most importantly, their price. Their price was the lowest. Their markup specifically came out to be the lowest, so that was important. So today, we're not asking that we approve the projects themselves. What we're asking of you to approve the approach that we want to take moving forward. So it's important to understand that all we're evaluating right now, or all we're asking for, is for them to evaluate our sites, for them to come in and do an assessment on the 9 sites that we included in our bid, for them to provide us with a list of what those projects are, what those costs are, anticipated timelines, everything. We would then pick and choose what we need and want to move forward with. That is what we would bring to you for approval. So for tonight, it is strictly just to move forward with the assessment. Yes?
Is there a fee for that, or is that?
There is a fee for that. They run a calculation. All the companies did a similar approach, but it's based on the square footage of the building, and they run a calculation. So the fee actually is, in total for these 9 facilities, it's less than $35,000. If we move forward with a particular project, let's say our admin building, we move forward with that particular project with the admin building, they will not charge us for the assessment fee. That will be built into the project cost. So while we're asking for approval to do the assessment, we may never pay them directly for just that assessment. If we opt that we do not want to move forward with that particular project, then yes, we would owe them the fee. Any other questions?
I'd like to see the contracts, the markups, everything, all the details before I would approve this, okay?
The
So,
contract for the investment grade contract or
Everything.
for the actual projects?
For everything, and I'd like to know also why can we not do this in-house? I mean, Ameren and most utility companies have these programs that you can do anyway, so that's questions
Right.
I'm gonna have, so I just
Okay.
thought I'd give you a heads up on that.
Sure. If I can just answer his comments about that. So as far as why we can't do this in-house, so I've been here 4 years. I've been talking to companies like this for 4 years. Initially, I thought we can do this ourselves. But I can tell you that it's been quickly evident that for me to get these larger projects done, I need much more than the one project manager that I have. That project manager is extremely stretched. They're handling upwards of 20-plus projects. When I say they, he pulls in some of my staff to help assist with some of the efforts. The assistant director, myself, we're all getting involved in handling these projects. We don't have the bandwidth to be able to handle projects of the nature that we're asking to be assessed for these 9 facilities.
But if you go ahead with the assessment, then you can pick and choose which ones you want to do based on the complexity of them in the budget, right?
You could. That still will take a large degree of resources because, for example, to do a single bid, it will take 6 to 8 weeks to perform and assess that bid to even bring it to yourselves for approval. We would be required to do that for the design and engineering, and that itself will take months to do. So if you take one building, you've got the mechanical systems to do the design and engineering for that. Then you've got the construction that you need and implementation that you need to perform that bid and the implementation. That will take months. It turns into where this type of approach takes us we're managing one much larger effort for the county. It turns that one larger effort probably into about 18 to 25 different projects that we have to run through that bid process. So for us to do that, it will take us 10 years.
So this is almost like a design build. Once you select Snyder, they're going to go do all the construction. We're not going to see the details of it. It's one big bid instead of a bunch of little bids. Fair statement?
It is one big bid, but it's not fair to call it necessarily a design build. It's more of a performance contract than it is a design build.
Right, it functions
Yes,
much the same.
similar.
And then, for instance, at $35,000 for an assessment for all those buildings, that's a pretty good deal considering we just approved $175,000 for this building alone, okay? At the last council
No,
meeting.
no, that's for engineering from Canada.
100
Right, okay.
for the engineering.
So my question is this is going to be a multi-million-dollar project, so I
Yes.
assume that we're going to have to use a bond on this? Are we going to go to a bond? Or-
That is to be determined. We're trying not to go to a bond issue on that.
Okay, so just so you understand, I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar project, so not that we don't need this, our billings are old, and I've been talking to you folks for a while, getting a 5-year plan together so we could do the capital and
Yep.
once a year. But, so what, some of my expectations will be if Schneider is doing his job or giving us a proposal, when they give us the number, they're not going to devalue it after they give us a number. A lot of these
No.
ESCO groups do that.
No.
Like they'll give you a certain system, and this is a system, and then they get the job, and then they start devaluing it to maximize their profits. Because I saw your chart, and it says 5% or 6% or whatever the percentages are, but we're not going to know if they go back out to bid. So when they come to us with whoever they're using, preferably all union contractors, when they come to us, that we're going to know the number and who the contractor is and what the value of the system is, so they cannot devalue it.
That is correct.
That would be my expectations.
That is my expectation as well. Everything and that was an element actually that Schneider Electric was adamant about, but I am adamant about, that everything is open book. I want to see everything from that design to the bid process to the bid selection. They are not allowed to actually select a contractor without us. So we do have a lot of input to this. We do have a lot of visibility. They can't proceed with anything without our approval.
And
for
I
this
also
process.
assume that when they're going out for their bids, that they're going to get multiple, they'll have at
Yes.
least 3 on each item, so it's competitive, correct?
Yes, that was,
Yeah.
that was an element that we wanted to vet out as we were going through our interviewing process, because we did not feel that every entity was providing that competitive bid.
And
That was
preferably
important.
metropolitan, St. Louis,
Yes.
people in the in this region, not from Texas or Arkansas
Mm-hmm.
or wherever, sorry, Mike, but, you know. You know what I mean? So-
I agree with that as well, because
Okay.
the people that are here know the region, know the players, know the unions, they
Okay.
know all that, yes.
Okay.
100% agree.
Any other questions?
Okay.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
So that'll wrap up our work session for this, so we'll take a 14-minute break, and then we will start the meeting at 7 o'clock.